Good morning. Welcome to OSW Daily Live. Today is June 16th. It is tapas, fudge, or fresh veggies day, Mike. Which one
What,
best fits
what's the
you?
first one? Tapas fudge?
Tapas, or fudge, or fresh veggies
Oh,
day.
wow. Three options
Which
today.
three options, all food related, so it's right in our wheelhouse.
Tapas, meaning small plates of
Small plates.
food.
Yes. Thank you for
Fudge,
clarifying.
clear. Well, I get it. I've just learned the term a couple years ago.
Okay.
Fudge, always sweet and
Mm.
delicious. And what was the
hmm
third one?
Fresh veggies.
Oh, skip that one.
Skip that one. I
Yeah,
figured you
go.
might, but it is the day for fresh veggies, Mike. So maybe this is the day
Maybe
you
maybe
have.
one day a year I'll eat some
You
fresh
know.
veggies. That sounds
Yeah,
good. Now
yeah,
you're a
yeah.
healthy guy. Are you eating veggies on a regular basis? I imagine you are.
Not not as much as I probably should. There are certain vegetables or certain foods that I do eat regularly. I love avocados, so I eat those almost
Oh yeah,
daily. And then I have a lot of frozen veggies just because of just the supermarkets and having supplies. But
sure.
I don't eat as much veggies as I probably should. But there we go. There we go. But
That's
I
the
don't. I don't.
problem. I do too, but not enough. That's right. My wife's very good about feeding me my vegetables,
She is good.
which is
Good.
good. How are you today? Tuesday, mid
Tuesday,
June. We're
man. Right?
halfway through June already.
Unbelievable, right? It's just flying by, man.
What is
Just
going on here,
flying.
my
I
friend?
know. I know. I know.
You got any vacation on
Yes.
the horizon? You got any plans to turn this
I,
camera off for a little while and do something
I'm. I,
else?
I am going to take a few days off, but I'm not
Okay.
going to turn the camera off.
Really?
And yeah. And it's just because, Mike, I enjoy speaking to you so much every day that I just couldn't do that, you know.
Well, what if I go
But
away to
but if you go away, then I guess
vacation?
the camera may go off, Mike,
You
or
can
we
turn
just have
off.
to get or we
Yeah,
get a substitution, and we'll see where we go with it. We'll see where we go with it. But no, to your point, so I'm actually taking a few days next week. I'm looking forward to it, and the reason for taking it is because the English Premier League soccer starts again this week.
oh,
So I'm taking
exciting.
a few
Good
days
for
off to watch
you.
a lot of football. So yeah, looking
Awesome.
forward to that. Yeah.
Live sports coming back.
Awesome, man. Awesome. It should be
Good
good.
to
It'll
go.
be interesting to see what it's like. No crowds in the stadiums, but I'm just
Probably
eager
take
to.
some getting used to, but you'll get right back into it, I'm sure. Hopefully
Oh,
the
for sure.
players will.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'll still shout at the TV in the same way and get as enthusiastic as I usually do. Depending on how the team is doing. But yeah, it should be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. So
Good
it's
for
been
you.
a
What's the
while.
team? What's your team?
Oh, Manchester United.
Ah, of course.
hmm Of course, of course.
The one I know. That's the
There it
one
is. There you go. There
football
you go.
club I'm aware of here, US
Yeah.
born and raised. But what about workplace? What are we talking about today?
So I know we spoke yesterday about we wanted to sort of get into the workplace and what that future workplace looks like, and we discussed that a little bit. But I actually woke up this morning, Mike, and looking across Facebook, LinkedIn, and sort of saying what actually is going on and what are people talking about because we like to be in the know and stay on topic. And I came across something that actually I just find really interesting. And so I've titled this episode of "Should Work Be Fun or Is Work Fake Fun?" And I'll tell you where
Fake
this comes.
fun.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
tell you where this comes from. So Liz Ryan, CEO of Human Workplace,
Hmm.
responded to a question, and I don't know the genesis of where this really initially started, but I picked it up this morning on this thread. And the question that was received by Liz was, this is a question posted to her. I question your assertion that work should be fun. If I pay someone to perform a job, my last priority is making the work fun. They're getting paid to work.
Hmm.
So there's
Interesting.
interesting connotations of how you accept that. And I have to think that obviously this was initiated where Liz said work should be fun if you want to create an engagement workforce, if you want to create an engaging environment for the organization, then people should enjoy their work and work should be fun. We always say do something you love because that's when you perform your best. And I
Right.
suspect if I went back far enough through all the various threads related to this is where this would go. And I don't know the individual who asked the question, but I'm going to guess that they're a business owner And they have obviously this viewpoint that work, it should not be fun. I'm paying you to do something, and therefore you should be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So Liz obviously gives a response that sort of supports her original thesis, and but understanding that, okay, you're absolutely right. This can be your viewpoint. However, will your employees perform better if they love their job and if they find it fun, as opposed to the mentality and sort of the leadership style that you're actually providing when you put in those connotations. So that's sort of where the genesis of this comes from. And I'd love to. I'm going to take a pause and let you sort of give your thought, because then I want to get to what fake fun is, and Liz does respond to that. But what's
Yeah.
your initial response to that?
Well, I think the word fun is throwing people off a little bit, probably. I mean, fun, when I think about fun, I don't think about work necessarily. There are aspects of my work that are fun, but do what you love. That's certainly an expression and a phrase. Do we know the source for that? Do what you love and you'll never have to work a day in your life.
I don't know the source. I
I
don't.
always attribute it to Zig Ziglar, but I
What's
think it's somebody
yeah,
else.
yeah,
Zig's
yeah.
always been known to put out some great quotes, but I think that the idea there is align your interests, your passions, your skills, your creativity, your ability, capability with a job that is suited for you, and things will go better. If that's the case, you will feel competent and confident and have a good experience doing your work. And therefore, whether you love it or not on a regular basis is certainly, you're not going to always love your work, but for the most part, if you are aligned, if your skills and capabilities and personality and those things are aligned with the work you're doing in general terms, you're going to have a much better experience. You're going to feel more accomplished, and you're going to have fun, right? If you're not aligned, and this is where everybody deals with this, and no matter what your job, there's always going to be parts of your job that you don't love as much as other aspects of the work you have to do. For me, it's spreadsheets. If I have to ever open an Excel spreadsheet, my brain freezes. I have trouble concentrating. I get a noticeable irritation and anger because I'm just not good at it. I've never understood how spreadsheets work. Really, I know a few basic formulas and so forth, but it's just not in my DNA to think that way. I'm more of a all over the place kind of creative thinker, or maybe, I guess, I don't know. So, but there's certain parts of my job absolutely where I need to open a spreadsheet and work with it and provide information, or it provides me information. I have to submit information that way. So yeah, there are little aspects of my job I don't love, but in the broader picture, when I am doing the work I love to do, which is interviewing people, talking to people, recording podcasts, editing podcasts, doing these types of conversations online, for the most part, it comes naturally to me now that I've gotten used to it and really enjoy it. And I just love it. So the time passes by faster. I feel a sense of accomplishment at the end of the day, and everything's in alignment. But would I say my job is fun? Absolutely. Parts of my job are fun, but it's more about being properly suited for the job I'm doing. And I hope that others get what I'm saying there.
Yeah, and I actually I totally relate to almost everything you just said there. Question for you though: what
Yeah.
percentage of your job do you look for fun? Do you have yourself, like, whenever you evaluate, okay, this is my job, and I sort of I look at, as long as I'm having this percentage much of fun, that I'll put up with my spreadsheets, right? Do you do that sort of equation with yourself, whether subconsciously or not? Do you think about those things?
Well, again, I'm gonna hesitate to agree with the word fun. If it's fun, if I'm fun, if I say let's have some fun, I want to go to a baseball game or go to a movie, or these days just I find fun being outside, going for a walk, going for uh, some type of non-work related activity is fun to me. Playing a game, watching a movie, whatever that might be. Um, but there are parts of my job that are fun. Like when I get to publish a podcast, there's a lot of work that goes in, as you know, Steve, there's a lot of work that goes in to content creation and getting to the point where you publish or you put something out on YouTube or in a podcast form, whatever it might be, that moment is fun. And when you get feedback on that, it's fun because you feel like you've accomplished something and it's tangible. And I have those fun moments. But if I had to put a percentage on it, it's a very small percentage of fun, but doesn't mean I don't enjoy what I'm doing. So I definitely, the journey to get to that fun moment or those fun moments, I'm having trouble a little bit because we're living our pandemic life. If I went back to my pre-pandemic world, fun was the conference event, the conference trade show, party, speaking engagement, that 45 minutes on stage. Those were the highlight moments, and then having the interaction with people afterwards. That was fun. But boy, was there a lot of work getting to it, preparing yourself for that moment, travel, some of the irritations would go with that. So there's a lot that goes into getting to these moments of fun. But I also think the broader picture is alignment with what I am good at or what my skill set is. So I'd say it's got to be at least an 80-20 or 90-10, split. There's maybe 80 to 90% of what I do, I feel it's a good fit for me. And maybe I'm just very thankful and blessed and privileged at this point in my life to be able to have that situation. Earlier in my career, younger days, you didn't have those choices necessarily. You hopefully, if this is being watched by somebody in the beginning of their career or in a non-ideal job so far, or a place right now where you're maybe not 80 to 90% aligned with what you do, work hard, do what you got to do, muscle through it, and then get to that point, steer your career, make choices, make decisions, and put yourself in a position to get to when you're an old guy like me. You can say, yeah, thankfully I have a job where 80 to 90% of it is what I feel aligned doing. Is it always fun? Not always fun, but it's enjoyable, and I love what I do in broad terms. And then there's that 10%, 20%. You're always going to have to deal with some non-fun stuff. How's
so
that
the first
sound?
thing, it sounds good. The first thing I want to say, like for those who are watching, like Mike had no idea that I was going to grill him like this. None of this is a grilling, but you know what I mean? This is like, we basically come on, I have a topic and, so there's no preparedness. So I appreciate, Mike, you being so open, so honest, and
yeah, I want to hear your
sharing your
perspective
thoughts.
too.
No,
Sure.
of course, I'm happy to share. And unlike you, I love spreadsheets, right? So I grew up in finance and data and spreadsheets where I live. When I open a Word document, it's just all this blank space. I'm like, I don't know how to work this. Where Excel, it's really easy. I've just got to fill in one cell at a time, and away you go. So whether it's writing words or whether it's putting numbers in, it's
orderly.
It's just logical, and there's a there's a definitive end thing. It's always a net final number, and there's a math exercise to verify what you said is correct. Where with English in the written form, whenever you come from the UK, coming to the US, where
that's true,
various languages, the English word is written very differently, and I always find myself second guessing the way I write. So I'm always conscious of it, because in the UK we write in the third person, where here you don't. We write in the past tense, where here you don't. So it's always trying to find out the right balances. And then some of my applications I have in the UK style, some is US style. So I'm always all over the place.
Well, ironically, anyway, Steve, I think you'd have the winning argument if you were to say which is right and which is wrong. I'd say, hey, listen, what's the name of the language?
Well, I don't know about that.
I think you guys started it.
I believe so. I believe so. I believe so. But there's even in England, there is various connotations of the word English, the English language. So it's so in essence. But going back to the again, trying to put a percentage on it, and I look for the majority of the work to be fun. And fun can be like you said, in a work environment. Fun is very different to me watching a soccer game, right? A fun soccer game is something when it's really good and my team's winning. A bad soccer game is when my team's getting beat, right? That's not fun at all, right? And I sort of look at it from a work perspective. How much of my time, or how much do I attribute to fun? And fun for me is when I feel like I'm contributing and I'm helping, be it other employees, be it the team, be it whatever, or I feel like I'm learning, right? So am I developing myself, and then how do I do those things? And then there's also the experiences that I'm having, right? So as we go through this, which is obviously a horrific pandemic that everyone's sort of evolving, but this is an experience. And, workplace leaders, business leaders, CEOs, the whole society is actually going through a phase of learning and progressing, and it really is all about those. So I look at those three buckets and I go, okay, what percentage of my day and what I'm doing at the office actually, or my home office or wherever I am doing it,
Mm-hmm.
do I feel like I'm taking those things up? And as long as within those buckets, there's going to be tasks that I do not like to do, but as long as I feel like I'm getting through those things, then I feel like I'm having fun.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
so that's how I sort of come at it. And I always accept
What?
that there's 20, 30, 40% of that work that sometimes is painful, but sometimes that pain is actually what gives people, or it gives me certainly, more pleasure, because there's things that I don't know what you think, Mike, but there's things that you do that are just become, you don't really, it's just, it becomes easy, but other people are like, well, that's really good. But to you, it doesn't, you haven't felt the pain to produce it because you just produced it. Where there's these other elements that are really hard and only you know how hard they were, and you don't get the same recognition, but actually for you, that's the bigger accomplishment. I don't know if you experience some of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. Two thoughts is that when something becomes easy, that's hard to do for many people. I think like what you and I do, podcasting or broadcasting, putting out content, that's what's surprising is your personality is so much different than my personality as far as a baseline background. Yours is finance, numbers, logic, yet you're still doing what I would call, creative side. What is it? Right side, left side of the brain, whichever side is the creative side. You also have that. You have this personality, you have this ability, and you know, maybe it's uncomfortable for you as it is for me at times, but you're willing to put yourself out there. Most numbers guys or numbers people are introverted and therefore they'd be, good at doing the spreadsheets, the finance stuff, but not as interested in putting themselves on camera, for example. So that surprises me. But to your point about the difficulty of the task or learning something new, I'll give you an example. Because we're spending so much time outdoors in recent weeks, especially here, getting used to our pandemic life and just trying to find some sanity, we had to reinvest or invest in some new furniture for our outdoor seating. And my wife did the job of searching, researching, and ordering. And these boxes came in last week and they sat in my garage for a few days. And then on Saturday, I said, I'll just whip those chairs together and that table together, thinking I could just pop it out of the box, and it would be some very quick thing. Well, I knew I was in trouble, Steve, when you open the box and you see all these pieces and then the big plastic wrapped, hardware that's required, bolts and screws and washers and, little, I was like, no, this is way more than I bargained for. I was so, put into a bad place. It was not going to be fun. And it did. It took me the first chair of 4 chairs took me 2 hours to put together because I'm meticulously following the directions and I'm looking at the bolt numbers and which one goes here and there. But by the fourth chair, later in that day, actually it was over 2 days. So Saturday I did 2 chairs, Sunday I did 2 chairs. By the end of the day, Sunday, that fourth chair only took me 45 minutes and I was listening to a podcast and I didn't even have to look at the instructions. I knew at that point where things went, all the pieces, the sides, the back of the chair, the base, and it was fun at that point. It still hurt. My hands are still sore from using those little cheap tools, but
Yeah.
by the time I got to that fourth chair, been through that cycle 4 times, I felt good about it. And then certainly seeing those brand new chairs sitting there ready to be used is a feeling of accomplishment. So I would always say, you're right, learning things, and you often say, oh, I don't feel comfortable when put into a situation I'm not used to. I don't know whether it's a new technology, a new software, especially in the context of workplace, a new task, a new initiative your company's starting. What's the human nature reaction to that? It's resistance. I don't want to do that thing. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't know how. But boy, as soon as we learn how and it becomes something we're familiar with, it becomes easy, it becomes fun. So the chair example, whether it's that or a software that you're implementing or a new technology tool or podcasting. When I first started podcasting, it was just like that. It was like follow the instructions on YouTube and read these articles, and what do I do next with the file, and how do I prepare the file for production. And it was very, a challenge. But now I do two podcasts a week. It's like bang, bang, bang. It's all like on autopilot. I know exactly what the process is, and it goes through, and it's much more enjoyable, and it's fun. So it's great. That learning piece is an interesting aspect to this.
It is, and first, thank you for your kind words, and two, I can totally relate to your handyman skills. I am awful. I am terrible, and
Yeah.
it's if there's a small price to pay for having something come already built, I will pay that just to get it. Because 2 days
I
of
get
putting
it.
together a few chairs, but that's where I am too. So, but again, it was a really good image to sort of portray the messaging that we were talking about there. So it's yeah, it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny.
So what's fake fun?
So
You
fake
mentioned
fun,
fake
yeah.
fun. Yeah.
So so this is what Liz is saying, fake fun. And somebody must have responded as in a comment and mentioned, well, maybe work is fake fun. So in other words, you pretend that you're enjoying what you're doing, or it's the concept of you fake it till you make it, right? And maybe
Okay.
there's elements of that. But her words are quite strong. Fake fun is insulting and annoying. And she goes on to say, pretend that fake fun will make your workplace a great place to work is not right. You don't need a football table, free beer nights, or anything else. It's all about respect, fair pay, clear direction, the right equipment, tools, appropriate training for the job, latitude to do my job, and other things, right? So in essence, it's not about fake fun. So we can't fake it. Work should not be about fake fun. It's actually about a lot broader things. So it's an interesting concept. I don't know what you think about that. Fake it till you make it. I think there's elements we all do a lot of that. While until
Mm-hmm.
we learn, right? You fake fun building that first chair, right? It takes 2 hours, but actually then allows you to have lots of fun the following day to build it in 45 minutes. And I think that
Yeah.
there are
Yeah.
elements
No,
of that.
I like the fake it till you make it concept, and it's something I've
Yeah.
embraced over the years. If someone asks you to do something and it's an opportunity for advancement in your job or in your career, especially as someone like me who's been more of an entrepreneurial spirit, I would go out looking for business and trying to sell, certain products, and a client would say, "Could you do this?" And even though it wasn't something I'd done before, I knew I could get it done. And I said, and I'd be like,
Mm,
"Yes, we'll get that done for you." So that's kind of
hmm
what I think of as when I think of the definition of fake it till you make it, and figuring things out. Even being a podcaster, faking it till I made it, in the sense that I didn't know how to podcast, but I decided to start a podcast as you started a website and open sourced workplace. It's you faked it until you figured it out. And we're constantly doing it. This
Still trying to figure it
daily
out, right?
broadcast.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're
yeah,
still figuring
yeah.
out how to broadcast over Facebook and YouTube and other platforms, LinkedIn. So absolutely, fake it till you make it is something I believe in and agree with. Now, fake fun though, the idea is if she was referring to things like putting a foosball table or ping pong tables in the office, or slides, or some of those gimmicks that you heard over the years in our workplaces, especially in
Hmm
Silicon Valley, trying to create an environment of fun. Um, I think there's something to be said there that is a little bit fake in the sense that I've always liked many of the people I've worked with over the years, whether it was a customer or a coworker. But listen, we're all different human beings, and personalities are going to vary from place to place, person to person. And the idea that we're going to create an environment where your coworkers are going to be your best friends, I think that's a little bit unrealistic and therefore fake. If you're going to say we're going to create a workplace that's so fun, you're never going to want to have to go home because you're going to enjoy this as much. There's definitely a difference, Steve, between a work event, party, dinner party. There are aspects of it that are absolutely genuinely fun. There are always people that you genuinely enjoy their company and being around. And sometimes many of you out there watching, your best friends are some of your coworkers, and you have a group of people that you hang out with, but not everybody. Not it's impossible to imagine that all coworkers, even on your team, because we're all brought together to do different tasks, different skill sets. If we're aligning
hmm
ourselves, like we talked about in the beginning of this conversation, correctly, then my personality is going to be a lot different than another team member's personality who does another task much, much better than I do. And therefore we can respect each other for our differences. But the fact that we're going to be then asked to play ping pong or foosball together is a little strange, like, or have the fun. So I think that that fake fun idea is one that if you try to force people to be something that they're not naturally in a work setting, then that would be troubling. So I think that if that's what Liz was talking about, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, and I get what Liz is saying. Don't get me wrong, right? But the other side of it is, um, there will always be people who come together for common interests, right? And is there ways by having some of the amenities and some of the events that Liz referenced and other things similar to that within people's workplaces, in having those, are you allowing people to come together who have a shared interest who may not otherwise come together within a workplace? So I think there's elements of that. So while it's, it could be considered fake fun, for those individuals who do like ping pong or do like foosball or do like some shuffleboarding, whatever it is, you're gonna people who like those are gonna gravitate and come together. And it's about, I think it's creating those moments, right? We talk about things that we miss in the office right now, right? We miss our friends, we miss our teammates, we miss that social interaction. And I think what shouldn't be lost is that those amenities do provide opportunities for people to come together. And when you're in the work environment, yes, you have these little conversations, but then the conversation always goes back to work. So what do you do? What are you working on? Oh, that's interesting. And then you sort of can evolve or introduce people to different people in the organization who maybe have a shared interest or may have an ability to actually provide input. So I think there's a couple of elements and there's a couple of threads we can pull at there. So I think it's important to sort of like, there are always be elements that are considered fun. There be things that people I think will consider fake fun, but that fake fun can actually lead to true fun. Just being a conduit to that. That's just a thought.
Yeah, I see that. I appreciate that. Give me the title again. What was the title of this video?
Should work be fun, or is work fake fun? Interesting.
Yes, and sometimes. How about that as the answer? Now that we're at the end of this conversation, I think I see it now that we've filled in the meat of the matter here, some of the in-depth motivation behind the question. It makes more sense to me. And if the mission of creating a fun environment is one to bring people together from diverse perspectives and different personalities and integrating a team, absolutely. And I do have fun, genuine fun, getting together with my team when we used to. And I look forward to the time, when we can safely reconvene at a convention or a conference or even a conference room at headquarters in Houston and sit around that table and swap stories. And some of the, most fun moments I've had in my career at iOffice is being with those people that, again, wouldn't necessarily be the people I would seek out to be friends outside of work, but because of their different personality and perspective and different skill set, I respect that and I appreciate that. And they hopefully likewise appreciate what I bring to the table. And there's something that's special that happens there. If that's what you're talking about, creating those environments that, if they're fake, is not a really good word, but an unnatural gathering, an unnatural time where left to our own devices, we wouldn't do it. But because the opportunity and because it's work, we have to do it. That leads to fun in a genuine way. I think that's a good thing. And I think that's what we're trying to get to in our, workplaces, which is cool.
No, it is cool. It is cool. Well, Mike, look, I appreciate your willingness to jump on this and discuss.
Love it. It was good.
That we don't know what we're going to talk about until we get on live.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it. And obviously, anybody watching, look, please leave your comments. Let us know what your thoughts are, and do subscribe to the channel and click that like button, hit that notification bell, and share. But Mike, for today, thank you, and I look forward to chatting with you tomorrow.
Thanks, Steve.